So why didn't you stay in the service?
Well, I should have. I look back, and I would have got an early retirement, but I knew that my dad was a Jippo logger and lumberjack, and
That's right. He wanted you back.
I just thought, well, I gotta go home. My dad needs me, basically. My younger brother, Derry, he's only 2 years younger than I am, and you wouldn't think we're even related. His hair was blonde as could be.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and we didn't even look alike. But he was, I split wood and knew how to use a crosscut saw and all that stuff, and he was just all thumbs when it comes to something like that. So, and he about died of pneumonia when he was around 6 or 7 years old. So it was always, well, Bob, you do that, Bob. Derry got out of it. He worked that boy. He really worked it to the end. I got so disgusted sometimes with that.
Thinking he can do it.
Boy. And I can remember when he was sick, and when they took him, he had to go to Tico, to the hospital, and he had pneumonia, and we were all praying and just worried that we were going to lose him, and so when he come home, boy, he got pampered. Well, Bob, you do it.
Yeah, that would just be the natural inclination.
Yeah,
and how old was he when that happened?
He was about 3 or 4, I think.
Oh, yeah.
So, and I was 2 years, I'm 3 years older than he is. But he was always favored, and he was blonde. His facial features were Fitch, but he was blonde. I don't know where that come from. Somewhere back in the way back somewhere, there was somebody blonde on one side or the other. Anyway, but
Milkman.
Yeah, well, we didn't have any milkman. We did our own milking all the time. When I cut that thumb, I used to have to milk, and I hated it. I just hated it because you get the milking stool and you get the bucket down there, and one thing I hated was to get swatted with that cow's tail. It's swat, and so you then hook the kickers that hooked around the cow's hind legs, tuck the tail in there and fasten them back up again. Then she couldn't switch that tail around back over there. But I couldn't get milk after I got that thumb. I didn't split that thumb. So Derry had to do the milking from then on. He never did forgive me for that. But I did this. I packed the milk up, and we had a separator on the back porch, and I run the separator and did everything else. And I split the wood and brought it in the house, so I just figured, good enough. You can milk the cows. That's just, we had 2 cows. That's just fine. That doesn't take long. Milk 2 cows. 40 minutes, you're all done. But I did everything else.
So you got out. You left the service because you were going to come back and help your dad, and then wasn't Derry going to college or something?
Yeah, he was going to the Free Methodist School in Wessington Springs, South Dakota, and after he got out of high school. So when I got discharged from the Brooklyn Naval Yard, I got a ride with somebody to western side of the state or something, and I had my uniform on, and I shipped a bunch of my stuff home so I didn't have to lug it all. And I hitchhiked all the way to into Montana, Billings. And I spent so much time that I was afraid I was going to get into snow and bad weather. So I think it was Billings, Missoula, Montana. I broke down and went to the Greyhound bus depot and got a bus ticket on home. But I wished I'd have took pictures and kept memoirs, of that, because it was so amazing. be out there in the middle of that Midwest there, and a guy would pick me up, a farmer, and he'd say, well, I got to go right down. You see that place way over in there? Well, that's where I live. I'll just drop you off here. And I'm out here. There's nothing. Pretty soon, here
Talk
comes
about the middle of nothing.
here come a 1946 brand spanking new two-tone Packard four-door sedan. And this guy pulls up and opens the door, and I threw my stuff in the back of the car, his car, and all that sort of thing. And he asked me where I was going, and so he said, I'm headed over there pretty close. And he said, I'll tell you what, I'll pay the motel bills and buy your food if you'll go with me and help me drive. And I thought, whoa, that's tempting. But I didn't want to get home that early because my dad was going to put me to work. So I knew that. So I was in no hurry to get home. I was going to take my time, because hitchhiking for a serviceman in full dress uniform was a snap. Old farmer would pick you up,